Good morning, everyone. Due to technical difficulties, I was not able to live stream the Mishna class as it was taking place. So we will do it now. In the future, if it comes out that you don't find the live stream when you typically do, it can be because of some kind of technical difficulties. Today, for some reason, couldn't get the internet on this computer. Sometimes I forget the computer at home. So even if you don't necessarily see the live stream as scheduled, check in later. Okay, so we are learning Mishnayos Shabbos. We're up to Parak Aleph, Mishnah Yud, Chapter 1, Mishnah 10. I'd like to dedicate this morning's learning memory of my mother, Mrs. Shlomis Rabinowitz, Shlomis Bas Reb Yaakov Eliezer. So the Mishnah reads, Ein Tzaylin Basar Batzel Lebeitza. We may not roast meat, onions, or eggs. Unless there's enough time for it to be roasted from before Shabbos begins. Now, what that means is that we're talking about here where you are, let's say, roasting this on an open fire, so to speak. It's got embers, it's got wood, it's got coals, whatever it is that's fueling the fire. You've got an open fire here. And we are concerned that here you are trying to get something ready for Friday night. And you may say that it's not getting ready quick enough. So you may forget. Because of that, it'll cause you to forget that it's Shabbos, and you'll forget it's Shabbos and automatically stir up the coals or the wood to get the fire going more so that the food cooks quicker. When you do that, you are transgressing the prohibition of Mavir, causing a fire. By making the fire to grow greater, that's called making fire. So therefore, we're concerned that you may come to do this if you start roasting it too close to Shabbos and the food's not ready before Shabbos, you may come to do that. But the Mishnah says if you're going to roast any of these things, it's got to have enough time to roast to be considered roasted from before Shabbos. And once it's already roasted before Shabbos, we're not concerned that you're going to go ahead and stoke the fire anymore. Now, the thing is, though, what exactly is called that the food is ready or that it's roasted, that it's ready? And it doesn't mean it has to be completely ready. What it means is it has to be a third of the way, a third roasted of its final level of preparedness. Meaning there's a level where it's considered fully roasted. A third of the way there is already enough to be considered roasted enough that we will not be concerned anymore that you will stoke the fire to get it to cook quicker to be ready Friday night. Now, the Gemara explains that this idea of a third of the way roasted is because there was a person named Ben Derusoi, the son of Derusoi. He was a bandit. He was always on the run. And therefore, he always partially cooked his food. His level of cooking food is a level that we say, okay, it is somewhat edible. Once it's at the point of a third of the way cooked, somewhat edible, then we're not concerned anymore that you're going to stoke the fire. And therefore, the Mishnah says that when the Mishnah says that you cannot roast the meat or the food unless there's enough time for it to get roasted from before Shabbos. It doesn't mean completely roasted. It means a third of the way of its final level of preparedness. Now the Mishnah continues with another example of this. A nice in pasla tanurim chashecha. You cannot put bread into a oven close to dark, meaning close to Shabbos. The notes here explains ovens in the times of the Mishnah were made of clay and were wide on the bottom and narrow on top. They had a narrow opening at the top. Bread was made by sticking dough to the inside walls of the oven. That's how the bread was made. So you're putting up this bread shortly before Shabbos. Now again, we are concerned that you may come to stoke the fire to get it ready quicker. Or in your mind to get it ready because you're concerned it won't be ready by the time you're ready to eat. So you want to stoke it. So therefore, in order to avoid that, in order to prevent that, we say like this: a nice in pasta tarum chashecha. We may not put bread into a stove as it's getting dark. Harah was a round cake of bread that was put on coals. That's how they made it. It has to be, there's enough time for its surface to develop a crust while it's still daytime. Now, this crust doesn't mean it's fully baked. It has reached the level that the Torah Yisrael says that if you were to break it open, there wouldn't be strings of dough that are being pulled. By breaking the bread in half, you won't have these strings of dough pulling between the two halves of the bread. So it's baked enough. So now the Mishnah says that if you want to put in this bread before Shabbos, that's not enough time to develop this crust on its surface. Okay, on its surface, you need a crust. Here it really means on its entire surface, bottom and top. Meaning, let's remember, as we said, the dough is put against the wall of the clay oven. You've got the part that's stuck to the clay oven. You've got the rest of it that's open to the fire. When the Tanna Kamma, the first opinion of the Mishnah states enough time for its surface to develop a crust from before Shabbos, then that means the entire surface. If it reaches that level, we're not concerned anymore. You're going to stoke the fire. Rebbe Lezer says, all you need is for the bottom part of it to develop the crust. The bottom part means the part that's against the wall of the clay oven. That part bakes quicker. And so according to Rebbe Lezer, all you need is the crust to develop on that bottom part to say that this is baked enough that we're not going to be concerned anymore about you're going to soak the fire. According to the Tanna Kamma, just that much is not enough. It's got to be that and the area that's facing the fire, which means really the entire surface of the bread has to develop this crust before we're going to say that you would be able to put the bread into the fire and not be concerned that you come to stoke it. And the Bartanura says, but the halacha does not follow Rebbe Lezer's opinion. It follows the first opinion, that you need the crust to develop over the entire surface of the bread. Have a wonderful day.